we were like previously talking about like how easy it is to just make an Instagram profile or a Twitter profile and copy someone's logo or copy someone's profile picture.
Oh my God, yeah.
Copy all their description and their links or whatever.
Yep.
You know, it's so easy to do that. Like you don't really get questioned unless someone reports that account.
Yeah.
And so to now just be able to get that blue verification check mark along with that is just like, I don't know. It's
a whole
crazy.
new level of that MTV show Catfish.
Yeah, literally major catfish.
It's like on top of Catfish, you can get the blue check mark.
We're verified catfishers and we can do this every day. Like it's fine.
Welcome to Brews and Buzzwords. Today, I am joined by our web and graphic designer, Becky. Today, we're talking about, should you buy the blue checkmark? So, Becky, thank you so much for joining me today.
Of course.
I wanted to talk about this topic around blue checkmark and verifications because it's such a hot topic right now. Our clients are asking, like, should we purchase it? Because there are many available on a lot of social platforms. On a subscription model.
Yeah.
And I think it has everything to do with trust factors and trust signals in design. Mm-hmm. So to start with, have you heard about the Twitter debacle with the blue checkmarks?
Only like recently, and I did not know it was a thing at all. But yeah, once I kind of delved into it, I was kind of mind blown with how much it's just, to me personally, taking a turn, because I'm one of those people that's like, oh, the blue checkmark, it's so verified and it's so trustworthy. Yeah. And now to see all this like Twitter fiasco around it has just like blown my mind. Yeah.
So I think to start with, like blue checkmarks to us on social media, it's always been this indicator of trust, right? Mm-hmm. Like you could have one if you were a big celebrity, if you were a really well-known global brand. And I think because it's been around for, let's say like a couple decades at this point, we've gotten familiar with just like seeing it in the back of our subconscious, thinking like, that means I should trust what this person's saying.
100%.
So what's happened on Twitter, for anyone in the audience that is not aware of all of this discourse, is on Twitter, you're able to now purchase at $8 a month a subscription to get this blue checkmark, whether you are a recognized public figure or not. So I could have a blue checkmark, you could have a blue checkmark, you could have 0 followers, but still have that blue checkmark. And legitimacy of it is coming into question because you can use that checkmark for good or evil.
Yeah. And understandably, like I said, like, it's just so like engrossed in my brain that it's trust and it's celebrities and really big brands and people that, you know, are being impersonated per se and have that like imposter syndrome almost entering into their daily lives. So they need to have this verified blue check mark. And now anybody can have it. And the extent that they had to go through to get the blue check mark, like all these background checks and questionnaires and everything, and it took so much time to now just being able to basically pay like a monthly subscription to just have it for fun.
That's exactly it. So like back in the day, like a year ago, like if a client was like, am I able to get a blue check mark? We would pretty much answer with like, okay, like, do you have articles about you? Are there people trying to impersonate you? Do you have that legitimacy? And what can we put in your application? Because all of those social channels would actually ask you to fill something out. You'd have to have a photo of your like driver's license, your business and corporation and everything. And so it was a lot of jumping through hoops to get that. And that legitimacy was built through this whole application process. Yeah. Now, in the purchasing model that's been introduced, there's now like 2 parties of people who have blue check marks. The actual earned blue check marks historically, and then you're just purchased it right now. And forget imposter syndrome. Yeah. There's literally imposters. Yeah. Like people just pretending to be others. So all of that created this huge like mix match of like who has a blue check mark and what is actually legitimate, which I think starts to devalue it. And then the most recent twist in this whole debacle was that the legitimate people who had blue check marks, that was taken away from them. So the only people that now have it are purchasers.
Yeah.
to add to that confusion, so Twitter was the first to introduce this subscription model. It has now been introduced beta or trial or whatever on Meta, so you can have it on Instagram as well. So I don't even know if you're aware of that like now on Facebook and Instagram, you can also purchase that blue check mark. So the legitimacy of it in that arena is also starting to go down, but I don't think the broader public knows it yet.
Yeah. No, like I said, this was all new to me as well. Like, and it's just mind-boggling because, like, again, you just automatically associate it with a celebrity or anything like that and have this trust behind it. So the fact that, like, yourself and myself can now, potentially go get it and just pay monthly for it. And like you said, it completely devalues the authenticity of it. And again, like you said, the history of all these people that have jumped through all of these hoops to try and get it and been authorized to have it and, are legitimate. And now it doesn't mean the same thing anymore. So it's like, how is a user or a customer ever meant to know how legitimate you are now if anybody down the street can just kind of get it at any given time? Like, how are they meant to know who to trust?
Right. So I think both in my realm, which is marketing, your realm, which is design, there's this huge aspect of psychology. And I think psychologically, we've put this association of trust signals and a built association. So no matter what it means now, the purchasing and everything, we have it deeply ingrained in our brains.
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about trust signals that you would use in, designing our client sites for them, like in order to build something that's like trustworthy, in order to build that client trust instantly so they will hand over their credit card, so they will fill out that form? What are you usually designing in there?
Yeah. So first few things that I would always try and incorporate and get our clients to utilize first and foremost on a homepage, for example, of a web design is testimonials. They go a long way. Yeah. Real testimonials, and again, it's almost like the blue check mark that it just verifies to you automatically in your head that this company, this business is trustworthy.
Add the face to it, and that's like even more powerful.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Video testimonials now of clients, like real people talking, sharing their experience, and it not being just, potentially, words on a website. So video testimonials go really, really far. And I think just real people being in the know and being in the action of their website as well, like putting their staff on their website, putting the people that you deal with on the website, all these indications of that authenticity just really speaks volumes for the viewer and the customer.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time, just like humanizing it, right? Because like people want to interact with other people, and the trustworthiness of like the robots and the AI and the fake businesses is not really there.
No, definitely, and it devalues a lot of things, I think, too, and it defers people. You want to deal with real people, and you want to know that you're being taken care of, and like you said, that the money you're investing into something that could be a lot of money potentially down the line is going to be worth your while, and that you're being taken care of. So IAs and chatbots and things like that come in helpful at random times of the day, maybe for quick questions, but when you're really investing a lot of money into something, I think people want that human element and that human to be looked after approach.
Yeah, for sure. I think in terms of like other trust signals on a site, like branching off from like blue checkmark and everything, I think seeing like all of those interact, like MasterCard taken here, that's like legitimacy in a business, right? Like I think in person, like if you ever see like we accept Amex, we accept whatever, you're like, okay, like they're using like a trusted payment processor. It's similar for a website, right? Yeah,
definitely. And like, I think just like you mentioned, seeing those familiar brands like MasterCard or PayPal, things like that, people more often than not will probably have at least one of the two of those. And two, again, just instant recognizable factor of trust, of being able to see, oh, okay, I know if I put my payment method into this, like I trust that it's going to go to where it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
So obviously there's other situations where they can turn into not being so trustworthy, but like you just have to make sure you're looking out for the right things in the right instances. But yeah, it's that familiarity. It's that knowledge of seeing something that you know and you recognize, and it instantly is a trust factor for you.
Yeah, I agree. I think in terms of using those trust factors, they can be used for good or evil.
Yep.
And like on the evil side of things, it's scams. Like I think digital literacy is so important, and it's obviously not something that we learned in school. Like it's so new and it's so ever changing that like I don't even know where you go to get digital literacy right now on like how to keep up with all of these scams that are happening. And we were previously like talking about, okay, like how do you explain to people with like a lower digital literacy how to spot what should be a trust signal, like a, trusted banking logo, and see through that and see that it is a phishing scam, which is so tricky because it can be used against you. So in terms of like scams and like how trust signals can be used against you, have you had any experiences of that happening?
Yes, I have. I was probably a teenager at the time. So again, it was the internet and everything like this. It was all still kind of new and not as big as it is right now. And I was just trying to sell like a little digital camera on eBay. Yeah. And someone messaged me and was interested and wanted to purchase it. And then I don't think I'd ever even really used eBay before. So there's that whole point of not really knowing how it should go, not knowing the process of it. And unfortunately, this person was a scammer and they were emailing me, but their email address that they had made was almost identical to eBay's. So let's just say it's info@ebay.com. I don't know what it is, but for example, that theirs was literally like info at ebay.something, and it was like the smallest thing that you just don't pick up on because you open an email and you read it. And they had the whole email templated out to be exactly like eBay. So the logo, the messages, and how like you talk to people and stuff. So I just thought, okay, it's legit kind of thing. And again, because I didn't really know, I packaged up the camera and I sent it to my local post office. And they hadn't transferred me the money, but then I got an email from PayPal, which was also them, with another PayPal scam email address saying the funds are on hold. Once you release the dispatch receipt or tracking number, the funds will be in your account. So again, I'm like, okay, great. Go drop this camera off at the post office, come home, complete silence. No funds are being deposited. Nothing else is happening. So then I obviously start getting worried, concerned. And then, it just basically was really apparent then at that point that it was a scam. And I remember me and my mom at the time were printing off all the emails that we got. And I don't know if you've ever done this when you've printed off an email, but it literally pulls up all the information of email addresses and everything. And it had like a BCC email in it.
Oh, it like uncollapses it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And this person's email was in that. And so it come from them through this scam email to me. So I could see this person's email.
That's one really tricky thing. And I have like a very similar story. And it's literally in our onboarding here at NVISION now to be like, don't ever listen if George asks you to go buy Costco gift cards.
And it's like emails. Hey, it's like, pick me up $100 Costco gift card.
Exactly. And the way that the scam functions is like, I think, I don't know, the phishing scam is just like they know who the CEO of a company is or whoever the boss is, and they'll use this sense of urgency. So they will either grab, George's full name, and like it's collapsed in most like email browsers to just say their name and not the full email listed out. So it'll simply say like coming from George Arabian, right? And like it doesn't say like what the actual email is, which we would all happen to know. But the urgency that's placed in those is like, hey, I need you to not tell anybody. Go grab me some Costco gift cards quickly. I'll pay you back. Like, let me know when you get them. And for the most part, like if you get anything from your CEO, most people will like drop all tasks and get going, right?
Yeah, because you just want to be helpful. So you're like, okay, of course, sure. I'm seeing them tomorrow at the office. No problem.
And the vulnerability there is just in like the urgency, the hitting you at a moment of like the power dynamic that's there and everything. And I think like, you know, more than once we've had staff literally that dropped everything and started going until they were like, hey, George, just want to confirm like what the amounts are. And he's like, stop what you're doing.
Talking about? Don't do it. I know. Yeah. And it's like an office joke now because it's literally got so many of us. And like you said, some people have gone out of their way to go out and get them. So now we're just like, don't ever listen to Costco gift card emails from George. It's not a thing.
And us being so digital, it's that much of a joke because we're like, we are digitally literate. Like we are going to like the top conferences in the country. We are constantly getting like additional education on all of the tools that we use. And like, we're getting scammed by these things too. And it's just like the deeply embedded trust that we have for what something's being represented as online, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's really hard. And like, you know, if you were to say, if anyone was to say, what do you look out for? There's so many things. Like you literally have to just check and double check. And like, even my grandmother, like she's just reluctant to answer the phone to anyone because of scams. And it could be a legitimate call from her bank. And she's like, nope, don't trust it. So she is luckily on that side where she just doesn't want to deal with anything like that. But unfortunately, there are a lot of people that simple email, it gets them. And like, the urgency and the panic of doing it, it's simply like, I got to go get that done and I'll do it now. And you don't question it and you don't have time to question it. Yeah. So I'd say it's like an instance of just like slow down, read things thoroughly. Does it make sense? And just, ask questions otherwise,
Totally agree. And I think like, as we talk about scams on like this larger scale where it actually affects like, you're paying money, shipping something out to someone, like actually, getting phished and getting your identity stolen. Like those are like the big time scams, but on a smaller scale, like going back to the blue checkmark, spreading of misinformation is like rampant just because that blue checkmark gives you that little extra layer of trust where people are like, what they're saying is more important. What they're saying is probably true, and it will be taken as fact because we just assume blue check mark means you've earned that legitimacy and that what you're saying is probably news where, I don't know, news and like these tidbits of information are so easily spread online now. And that layer of legitimacy is like adds to the confusion for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And like we were like previously talking about like how easy it is to just make an Instagram profile or a Twitter profile and copy someone's logo or copy someone's profile picture.
Oh my God, yeah.
Copy all their description and their links or whatever. Yep. It's so easy to do that. Like you don't really get questioned unless someone reports that account.
Yeah.
And so to now just be able to get that blue verification check mark along with that is just like, I don't know. It's
a whole new level of that MTV show Catfish.
Yeah, literally major catfish.
It's like on top of Catfish, you can get the blue check mark.
Catfishers, and we can do this every day. Like it's fine. I think it's going to cause a lot of issues. Personally on social media, and a lot more, scams or situations are going to happen, unfortunately, because of that.
Yeah, online identities, that's like a whole other episode that we're going to have to talk about because
next week.
Like all the profiles that you create and the permanence or impermanence of them, a whole other conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
So all of that said, my question to you is, would you recommend that anyone buys a blue check mark right now?
Oh gosh, I'm so torn. In one sense, I guess like if you are just finding out now with us that, you can buy this blue check mark and anybody could use it. Personally, I wouldn't, because I think it's going to drastically get devalued, and I think there's a lot of other things and a lot of other recommendations that ourselves as a company, other companies around the world can recommend to you to build that trust and build that respect with clients that isn't necessarily to do with the blue check mark. But if it's something that you really want and you've been wanting for a while and, Instagram's not quite giving it to you or whatever, then go ahead. It's nice and easy to do so. Yeah, you can do it.
At the low price of $8 a month.
Exactly.
I think my opinion on it is, I think it's reached the point of cringy, but only for people that know.
Yes, exactly.
And so it's like the circle of people that understand this entire dynamic of how, it can be purchased. People who actually legitimately earned it on Twitter do not have it anymore. It's selectively been given out. I think it's reached the point of cringy, but I don't think the greater public has that perspective yet.
No.
Because it's an $8 a month fee, I would say at this point, it's a trial and error time. I wouldn't talk people out of it because of the small investment that it is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. $8, skip a couple of coffees and maybe you can be verified for a month.
Yeah, I guess time will tell how that goes.
Time will tell. And maybe, in a year's time, we're going to look back and say like, whoever thought that like a blue check mark was trustworthy, and it could mean very little in our minds by that point.
Yeah, exactly. Be interesting to see.
We'll wait and see.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me, Becky, for this conversation. It was so good talking to you and learning more about how branding can build trust.
Yes.
Please stay tuned. Check out all of our other episodes of Brews and Buzzwords. And we'll be back next month with another.
Thanks for watching this video. If you got something out of it, please like, subscribe, or share it with your friends.